In just 45 seconds, one of Hollywood's most respected actors completely lost it on live television. Samuel L. Jackson, the man who's been in over 100 movies, stood up from his chair, pointed his finger at Bill Maher, and told him exactly what he thought before storming off the set. What started as a conversation about movies turned into an absolute meltdown that nobody saw coming. Before we get into this explosive story, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We bring you daily videos exposing Hollywood's darkest scandals, the confrontations they don't want you to see, and the moments that reveal who these celebrities really are behind the cameras. Last night on Bill Maher's show, the atmosphere was already tense from the moment Samuel L. Jackson walked onto the stage. The audience clapped as Jackson sat down in the guest chair, wearing his signature style with a leather jacket and that calm, collected look he always has. Maher started the show with his usual smirk, that look he gets when he thinks he's about to make a clever point. "Sam, great to have you here," Maher said, leaning back in his chair. "You've been acting for what, like 50 years now? That's incredible." Jackson nodded, giving a small smile to the audience. "Something like that, Bill. Been doing this a long time." "So tell me," Maher continued, "you've played all these different characters, action heroes, Jedi Masters, superheroes. But I gotta ask you something that's been on my mind. Don't you ever feel like you're just playing the same angry guy over and over again?" The audience got quiet. You could feel something shift in the room. Jackson's smile faded just a little bit, and he tilted his head slightly. "What do you mean by that, Bill?" Jackson asked, his voice still calm but with an edge to it. Maher shrugged like he didn't understand why the question would be a problem. "I mean, come on, you've got the tough guy thing down. The yelling, the intensity, the whole package. It's great, don't get me wrong, but is there more range there? Have you ever wanted to do something different?" Jackson sat up a little straighter in his chair. "Bill, I've done Shakespeare. I've done dramas, comedies, everything. I think you might be confusing my characters with your perception of me." "Hey, I'm just saying what I see," Maher said, that smirk still on his face. "You show up, you do your thing, you cash the check, nothing wrong with that. But let's be real here." "Let's be real about what exactly?" Jackson asked. His voice was getting a little harder now, not loud yet, but definitely more serious. Maher leaned forward, gesturing with his hands like he was about to make some big point. "Look, I think Hollywood has this thing where they put actors like you in a box. The tough guy box. The action star box. And maybe, just maybe, you've gotten comfortable in that box. It's easy money, right?" Jackson stared at Maher for a long moment. The audience was completely silent now. "Actors like me," Jackson repeated slowly. "What does that mean, Bill? Actors like me?" "Oh, come on, don't do that," Maher said, waving his hand dismissively. "Don't make this into something it's not. I'm talking about action stars. Arnold, Sylvester, you. The guys who built careers on being tough guys. Except Arnold and Sylvester are white guys, and I'm a black man in Hollywood," Jackson said. "So when you say actors like me, maybe you need to be more specific about what you mean." Maher rolled his eyes. "Here we go. Everything's about race now. I'm trying to have a conversation about your acting choices, and you want to make it about race." "No, Bill," Jackson said, his voice getting louder. "You made it about race when you lumped me into a category and then tried to act like you were just talking about action movies. I've been in this business long enough to know exactly what people mean when they say certain things." The audience started shifting in their seats. Some people were nodding along with Jackson, while others looked uncomfortable. Maher clearly didn't like losing control of the conversation. "Sam, I think you're being a little sensitive here," Maher said. "I'm a comedian. I make observations. That's what I do. If you can't handle a little bit of honest conversation, then maybe you shouldn't be doing talk shows." Jackson laughed, but it wasn't a friendly laugh. It was the kind of laugh that comes right before someone really lets loose. "Sensitive? Man, you don't know anything about sensitive. You sit here in your comfortable studio, making jokes about people's lives and careers, and you think that's honest conversation? That's just you running your mouth." "Excuse me?" Maher said, his face getting red. "This is my show. I'll run my mouth if I want to. You came here as a guest." "Yeah, I did," Jackson said. "And I expected to have a conversation, not to be insulted and stereotyped on national television." Maher threw his hands up in the air. "Stereotyped? I asked you about your acting career. How is that a stereotype? Because you didn't ask me about my acting career, Jackson shot back. You asked me why I keep playing the same angry black guy. That's what you really meant. You think I don't see through that? The audience started murmuring now. Some people were clapping for Jackson, and you could tell Maher was getting more frustrated by the second. I never said anything about you being black, Maher insisted. You're putting words in my mouth. I don't need to put words in your mouth, Bill, Jackson said. You're doing fine on your own. The problem is, you say these things, and then when someone calls you out, you act like you're the victim. Like we're all being too sensitive and can't take a joke. Maher's face was really red now. You know what, Sam? Maybe the reason people think you're always angry is because you are always angry. Look at you right now. I asked a simple question, and you're acting like I committed some horrible crime. Jackson stood up from his chair. The audience gasped. He looked down at Maher, and his whole energy had changed. This wasn't movie anger. This was real. Simple question? Jackson said, his voice booming across the studio. You want to talk about simple? Let me make this simple for you, Bill. You don't get to sit here and question my career, my talent, my choices, and then act surprised when I have a problem with it. You don't get to do that. Sit down, Sam, Maher said, trying to regain control. Let's talk about this like adults. Like adults? Jackson repeated. Bill, I've been trying to talk to you like an adult since I got here. But you're not interested in a real conversation. You're interested in scoring points, getting laughs, making yourself look smart. Well, congratulations. You got your moment. Maher stood up too now, facing Jackson across the desk. My moment? This is my show. You don't get to come here and disrespect me on my own show. Disrespect? Jackson said, and he laughed again. Man, you've been disrespecting me since I sat down. The difference is I'm calling you out on it, and you can't handle it. The audience was divided now. Some people were cheering for Jackson. Others looked shocked, and a few were actually booing. The whole studio felt like it might explode at any second. You know what your problem is? Maher said, pointing at Jackson. You can't take criticism. You're so used to everyone kissing your ass because you're a movie star that when someone has a genuine question about your work, you fall apart. Jackson took a step closer to the desk. Criticism? Bill, you don't know the first thing about criticism. Criticism is thoughtful. Criticism is informed. What you do is make assumptions, throw out half-baked opinions, and then hide behind your comedian label when people call you out. I'm not hiding behind anything, Maher said. I stand by everything I said. Maybe you do play the same character over and over. Maybe you are comfortable in your box. That's not racist. That's just an observation. Then let me make an observation about you, Jackson said. You're a talk show host who thinks being controversial makes you interesting. You throw stones at people and then act shocked when they throw stones back. And when the conversation gets real, when someone actually challenges you, you fold. You call them sensitive. You say they can't take a joke, but the truth is, Bill, you're the one who can't handle it. You can't handle being wrong. The studio went completely silent. Even the crew members were frozen, watching this unfold. Maher's mouth opened and closed like he was trying to find words, but nothing came out at first. Get off my show, Maher finally said, his voice shaking. If you're going to come here and attack me personally, then get off my show. Oh, now I'm attacking you personally? Jackson said. That's rich. You spend the whole interview making assumptions about me, my career, my choices, and I'm the one attacking you? I asked you legitimate questions about your work, Maher insisted. You're the one who made it personal. You're the one who started throwing accusations around. Jackson shook his head. No, Bill. You made it personal when you questioned my integrity as an actor. You made it personal when you suggested I'm just cashing checks and playing it safe. You made it personal when you tried to put me in a box and then got mad when I refused to stay there. I didn't put you in any box, Maher shouted. You put yourself there. The audience was in complete chaos now. People were yelling, some supporting Jackson, others supporting Maher. The cameras kept rolling, capturing every second of this breakdown. You really don't get it, do you? Jackson said, and his voice got quieter now, which somehow made it even more powerful. You really think you can say whatever you want, and there should be no consequences. You think your platform gives you the right to make judgments about people you don't know, about careers you could never understand, and everyone should just smile and nod along. I have every right to express my opinion, Maher said. That's what this show is. That's what I do. If you don't like it, there's the door. Jackson looked at the door, then back at Maher. You know what, Bill? I think I will take that door. Because sitting here arguing with you is pointless. You're never going to understand what I'm saying. You're never going to see how your questions were disrespectful from the start. You're just going to go on believing that you're some brave truth-teller, and everyone else is too sensitive. Fine, Maher said. Leave then. Run away from the conversation. Run away, Jackson said, and he laughed one more time. Bill, I've been having this conversation my entire career, with directors who didn't think I could handle dramatic roles, with producers who wanted to typecast me, with critics who reduced my work to stereotypes. I'm not running from anything. I'm just done wasting my time with people who aren't willing to listen. Maher threw his hands up. This is unbelievable. You come on my show, you insult me, and now you're walking out like you're taking some moral stand. Believe whatever you want, Bill, Jackson said. He started taking off his microphone, pulling the wire out from under his jacket. That's what you're going to do anyway. You're making a huge mistake, Maher said. Walking out like this makes you look bad, not me. Jackson dropped the microphone on the chair and looked directly at Maher. I don't really care how it looks to you or anyone else. I know what happened here. You disrespected me, and I called you on it. That's all there is to it. I didn't disrespect you, Maher yelled. I asked you a question. You asked me a loaded question designed to make me look like a one-trick pony, Jackson said. And when I didn't play along, when I pushed back, you couldn't handle it. That's the truth, Bill. You can spin it however you want for your audience, but we both know what happened here. The audience was completely out of control now. People were standing up, shouting at each other, some trying to defend Maher, others cheering for Jackson. The producers were probably losing their minds trying to figure out what to do. You're being ridiculous, Maher said. Completely ridiculous. This is exactly the problem with Hollywood today. Everyone's so afraid of offending anyone that you can't even have a conversation anymore. We could have had a conversation, Jackson said, buttoning up his jacket. If you had come at me with respect, with genuine curiosity about my work, we could have had a great conversation. But that's not what you wanted. You wanted to prove a point. You wanted to be clever. And now you're surprised that it backfired. Nothing backfired, Maher said. But his voice didn't sound as confident anymore. You're the one who looks bad here. You're the one who couldn't handle a simple interview. Jackson walked around the chair, heading toward the side of the stage. Keep telling yourself that, Bill. Maybe if you say it enough times, you'll believe it. Where are you going? Maher called after him. We're not done here. Jackson stopped and turned back one more time. Yeah, Bill, we are done. We've been done. You just didn't realize it. This is my show, Maher shouted. You don't get to decide when we're done. Actually, I do, Jackson said. Because I'm the one walking out. You want to keep talking? Go ahead. Talk to an empty chair. I'm sure your audience will love that. Maher looked at the audience, then back at Jackson. Fine, leave, but don't expect to be invited back. Jackson laughed. Trust me, Bill, that's not a problem. I wouldn't come back to this show if you paid me double. We did pay you, Maher yelled, and immediately looked like he regretted saying it. Yeah, you did, Jackson said. And I earned every penny just for putting up with this nonsense for as long as I did. The audience exploded again. Some people were laughing, others were booing, and the whole thing felt like it might spiral even further out of control. You're going to regret this, Maher said, trying to get the last word in. Walking out like this, acting like a child. People are going to see this, and they're going to side with me. Jackson shook his head slowly. Bill, I'm 60 years old. I've been in this business longer than some of your audience members have been alive. I don't make career decisions based on what you or anyone else thinks. I make decisions based on respect. And this situation right here, this has zero respect. I gave you respect, Maher protested. I invited you on my show. I gave you a platform. A platform? Jackson said, and his voice got that edge again. Bill, I don't need your platform. I've got my own platform. It's called my body of work. The hundreds of millions of people who've seen my movies. That's my platform. Your show? This is just another Tuesday for me. That seemed to hit Maher hard. His face went from red to almost purple, and you could see him struggling to come up with a response. "Then why did you come?" Maher asked. "If my show means so little to you, why did you even bother showing up?" Jackson thought about that for a second. "You know what? That's actually a good question. I came because my publicist said it would be good promotion. I came because I thought we could have an interesting conversation. I came because, despite all the things I've heard about you, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. But now I see that everything I heard was true." "What did you hear?" Maher asked. And he actually sounded curious now. "That you're more interested in being right than being respectful," Jackson said. "That you use your show to tear people down instead of building them up. That you hide behind comedy and controversy instead of having genuine conversations. And you know what? They were right. All of it was right." Maher looked genuinely hurt now, but he tried to cover it with anger. "Those are lies. People who don't understand what I'm trying to do say those things." "Maybe," Jackson said. "Or maybe you need to take a look at yourself and figure out why so many people have the same criticism. When one person says something, maybe they're wrong. When 100 people say the same thing, maybe you should listen." The audience had quieted down a little now, watching this final exchange. You could feel that something was shifting, that this was coming to an end one way or another. "I don't need advice from you," Maher said. But his voice was smaller now. "I've been doing this for years. I know what I'm doing." "I'm sure you do," Jackson said. "But just because you've been doing something for years doesn't mean you've been doing it right. That's something you might want to think about." Maher opened his mouth to respond, but nothing came out. He just stood there, looking at Jackson, looking at the audience, looking at his desk. "I'm going to leave now," Jackson said. "Not because you told me to. Not because I'm running away, but because I'm done. I said what I needed to say. You heard what you needed to hear, even if you don't want to admit it. And now I'm going to walk out of here with my dignity intact." "Your dignity?" Maher said, finding his voice again. "You just had a meltdown on live television." "No, Bill," Jackson said calmly. "I stood up for myself on live television. There's a difference. You might not understand that difference, but other people will." "Get out," Maher said, waving his hand toward the exit. "Just get out." "I'm going," Jackson said. He started walking toward the side exit, where the cameras could still see him. The audience was watching in complete silence now, nobody knowing what to say or do. Maher called out one more time, his voice desperate. "You're making a mistake, Sam. This is going to follow you." Jackson stopped at the exit and looked back one final time. "The only mistake I made was coming here in the first place. But I won't make that mistake again." And with that, Samuel L. Jackson walked off the stage, leaving Bill Maher standing alone at his desk, surrounded by a confused and divided audience. The camera stayed on Maher for a few more seconds, capturing the look on his face as he realized what had just happened. He tried to smile, tried to make a joke, tried to act like everything was fine, but nobody was buying it. The audience knew what they had just witnessed. A complete breakdown. A confrontation that went way too far. And a guest who refused to be disrespected, no matter what the cost. Jackson disappeared through the exit, and the heavy studio door closed behind him with a loud thud that echoed through the studio. That sound seemed to snap everyone back to reality. Maher looked around at the audience, at the cameras, at his producers who were probably screaming in his earpiece. "Well," Maher said, trying to laugh it off, "I guess we know who can't take criticism." But the audience didn't laugh. Some people actually groaned. The energy in the room had completely turned, and Maher could feel it. He shuffled his papers on the desk, clearly trying to figure out what to do next. "We'll be right back," he said to the cameras. And the producers cut to commercial. But everyone knew they wouldn't be coming back from this. This wasn't the kind of thing you just move on from. This was the kind of confrontation that would be replayed over and over, analyzed and debated, shared on every social media platform. Backstage, you could hear Jackson's voice as he spoke to someone, probably his assistant or publicist. "Get me out of here," he said. "I'm done with this place." And just like that, one of the biggest blow-ups in talk show history was over. Samuel L. Jackson walked out of that studio and never looked back, leaving Bill Maher to deal with the aftermath of a confrontation that exposed everything wrong with his approach, his attitude, and his show.